this panel with us. So we are already, according to our schedule, 1 hour late. So, but I believe that with the expertise and experience our very eloquent and then distinguished panelists have, they will be very, very brief. And then, so we can also have a kind of interaction session. In order to just set the context, let me just speak 2-3 minutes. If we see the Nepal's development discourse in present scenario, then we hear a lot about the connectivity-driven strategy, be it like railways, waterways, and then road connectivity. It is extremely important for a country to have efficient and effective connectivity beyond the border in order to have a competitive advantage in international trade. Not only in Nepal, but we also see the connectivity issues that is going around the sub-regional, regional and international forum, like BRI, BBI, and we talk about in the earlier session too, BEMSTEC and South Asia and so on and so forth. Being specific about Nepal and Bangladesh, geographically we are separated by 27 kilometers of Siliguri corridor, which is also known as the chicken neck. But in terms of, if we speak, the trade volume between these two countries, then we are almost around 60 million per year, according to the data of fiscal year 2017 and 2018. Another important point that I want to make is that we do have like transit agreement recently with India, with China, and we do have a transit agreement with India. But if we recall the transit agreement with Bangladesh, then it has been almost like 40 years that we do have a transit agreement with the Bangladesh, which allow us to reach the 6 transit points, including Mola and Chittagong. I guess recently I also heard the news that Chinese fertilizer coming from the Mongla port to Kathmandu in 2018 October. Maybe that is one-time transshipment or like going to be a regular that need to be discussed. Having said that, we also need to ensure it is ensured in the international laws that, especially even a convention for law of seas and other conventions, including SAFTA and WTO as well, that we have rights to access the transit. That will definitely diversify our capability, if I may use the kind of bargaining power as well. So last year, I also recall that we do have a secretary level meeting, and then there is a ample amount of trade-related issues has been discussed, and when going through the minute, I came to know that Keshab has also the team of that meeting as well, so he can share the nitty-gritty of that minute as well. So just by setting this context, I will directly move to the keynote speaker of today's session, Dr. Golam Rasul. He is the Chief Economist of ICIMOD.
Thank you, Shyamji, Honorable Chairperson, fellow distinguished panelists, media friends, business friends, ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Her Excellency Mashbin Shams, Ambassador of Bangladesh to Nepal, as well as Asia Institute of Diplomacy International Relations, to give me this opportunity to talk on this important topic on connectivity. Connectivity is also important thrust and core area of ICIMOD. All you know about ICIMOD is that ICIMOD being a regional organization, we are working very hard also to bring together the partner of 8 countries and promote regional cooperation, water, energy, and trade, commerce, all that. So this is very also core topic of us. But I must admit that I am not an expert on this. The distinguished panelists sitting there or gathering here, I am nowhere in there because I have not done any serious research on this transboundary transit corridor, all that. But I have a strong interest on this topic. I first visited in Kathmandu in 1995 as a member of Bangladesh delegation in Trade and Economic Fellowship with the Committee Bangladesh and Nepal Trade and Economic Cooperation. I was working at that time in Ministry of Commerce of Bangladesh. Now this gives me a good opportunity to reflect what we were discussing in 1995 and what we heard today this morning. In fact, at that time we could not visualize that there will be a dialogue between Nepal and Bangladesh on energy cooperation, on hydropower, or multimodal connectivity. At that time, our topic, I can know just to connect Nepal to Bangla through Bangladesh. You know that was our thing. At that time, all the countries, there was a very high tariff, and trade was less than $1 million, I think, at that time. So, but now we have progressed considerably, but this is not enough. This is if you compare to the need, it is very suboptimal. So next few minutes, I think 15 to 20 minutes, I will touch a little bit why one of the connectivity, particularly multimodal connectivity, why it is important, and what is the present situation of trade or economic cooperation between Bangladesh and Nepal, what are the issues and challenges, and what are the emerging opportunities, and what we can do to harness the emerging opportunities to promote trade cooperation and multimodal connectivity between Bangladesh and Nepal. First of all, why multimodal connectivity? Shyam also mentioned this is the increase your competitiveness, global trade. But what I would say, it is not only economic asset, it is not only increase your competitiveness. It is a lifeline. It is a heart, artery of your blood heart. Why? If you know that now, it is now, just to give good example, it is more than asset, like water, forest, tree, we talk as asset. This is more than asset. Why? Why China is now investing so much on connectivity? Because your country's strength and prosperity is not only depend on how much resources you have, how well you connected in the global network now. Because of globalization, it is your strength on connectivity in the network hub depend on how much strength is now. Look at the Singapore, how much resources they have. Their power connecting from connectivity. Dubai, earlier we had a lot of resources. Now Dubai growing, it is using their connectivity. So connectivity is not only a service or asset, it is a very, very strategic asset for any country. And particularly Nepal, being a landlocked country, experienced very bitterly different times of the history, how much badly they suffer because of poor connectivity or depending on connectivity for particular one or two partners. Just give one example. Look at this data, the export-import time required, cost involved in different countries. If you look at that, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal and world, so Nepal cost to export or import almost double than Bangladesh. How our business sector here, people sitting here, how can they be competitive? How can they, in the morning I heard that garments, Bangladesh flourished, Nepal could not. How Nepal can compete? If one container this much difference, how Nepal can compete in the global market? It is not possible. It is huge economic cost for the country. Huge. And we need to overcome that. If we really want to change Nepal, what is visioning now, Nepal people, Nepal government, we need to overcome that. And how to overcome that? We need to enhance connectivity. We need to diversify connectivity. One of the major issues and problem in this world that the monopoly, we all know economic students, we all study monopoly and monopoly. This is a serious problem for anything. If you depend on any particular supplier or producer for particular product or services, you are highly vulnerable because the monopolist will dictate you all terms and conditions. So, in between Bangladesh and Nepal cooperation and connectivity, we need to look at from that angle. It is not only how competitive it is from other, but how it is giving you an alternative option for global market, connecting to the sea, going to the global. This is the point I would like to highlight. I just like to quickly look at that. Bangladesh and Nepal economic growth and thing. I try to look at from 1960s and until 2017. If you look at that, until 2000, if you data here, the 2008, year 9 and 10, if you look historically, Bangladesh and Nepal were economic growth almost similar pattern. You don't find any difference. When you find difference, that is come from 2009, and you see the Bangladesh is growing steadily. Nepal is just going zigzag. This is an important point also for our connectivity and discussion all that, how we manage the economy so that Bangladesh, in fact, even early 2000, our gross GDP was about $70 billion. Now it is $180 billion. How many times? In just one decade. So this is possible to also how you manage your trade economy and macroeconomic thing. Now we have to again look at connectivity from the global point of view. Whole global is now economic order is changing. It is now we call Asian drivers. Asia will be leading the future world, and Nepal how can get benefit out of that? Nepal, big neighbors of India and China, they will be the world largest economy in the soon. And there is also this is bringing opportunity, also bringing challenges. There is a technological revolution, artificial intelligence, automation. That are bringing also opportunity and challenge. Because Bangladesh, Nepal, both are, we have a huge labor, almost surplus, we can say labor surplus, hugely labor countries. Now our labor working all our Middle East, everywhere or they are thinking. The way technological evolution going, artificial intelligence is developing, automation going on, I am scared what will happen, our labor who are sending remittance to us, and our economy thriving because of their remittance. What will happen after 20 years? We have to think now, and we have to strategize now, prepare ourselves to respond that. It will not happen that in future, maybe your labor will not send so much remittance on that. So need to prepare for the future, and that is why incremental growth is no more enough. You need a transformational change. And both the countries, Prime Minister of Bangladesh and Nepal, they are now hoping to be a developed country in the next 30-40 years. Bangladesh is the global economy forum study says that Bangladesh is the now 31st largest economy in the world. In 2030, it will be the 28th largest economy, and in the 2050, Bangladesh will be the 23rd largest economy. Many European countries will be behind in terms of Bangladesh in GDP. And Nepal, if you look at that, at present Nepal GDP is about $24 billion. So by 2030 it will be $30 billion, and by 2050 it will be Nepal will be also $70 billion economy, not a small economy. Many Nepali friends always say we are small country, small economy, but that is not that thing. You are also important, significant economy in the world. 30 million people is not a small thing. But I'll not talk to this complementary commonalities. In the morning session, Mr. Wagle nicely highlighted one phrase. I like it so much. That Nepal and Bangladesh is a water country. Nobody can precisely explain how dependent each other. The geography, if you look at our map, Nepal, Bangladesh, it is we are hill foot of Himalaya, nothing very far. How much? 27 kilometers, all that. So geographically, hydrologically, economically, culturally, we have a lot of commodities and we have a lot of complementarities. Many cases we only talk about the commonalities, but what is the complementarities? I can just give one example. Yesterday, my wife bought ek pav Corolla. I asked her, why you bring ek pav Corolla? He said, 1 kilo is 200 rupees. I can tell you, if you go Bangladesh with 200 rupees, you will get 5 kilo of Corolla. In avocado in Kathmandu, we buy 300, 400 rupees, 1 kilo. If you go Bangladesh, 1500 or 2000 taka. see the competitiveness and complements. Many sectors, Bangladesh economy is now growing, middle class is growing, our construction sector is growing so much, we are depending on our construction material for outside. Nepal could be one of the major. Now Nepal export is so much, it can be really heavy, if we can really connect all that. So there are many complementaries, agriculture, tourism, hydropower, so huge complementarities. Just state, look at that, if our state, it is so, we are growing, but still state is so small. I just want to show you light slide, look at that. What is the potential? The blue color shows the potential of trade, and the other says the actual. Is Bangladesh is, after all the effort of our Her Excellency Ambassador, only $56 million export to Nepal. It is actually nothing. It is nothing. And India only $11 million. It is nothing. We can do much better. That possibility is there. We can do. But why we could not do that? What went wrong? What are the issues and challenges? So we all know that this is the reason, I think, in the world is integrated. Our regional trade within SAARC, less than 5%, not more than. Even some of the countries, it is going above 50%. Our region, after so much effort, it is 5%. And of course, physical connectivity, transport facilities, and if you want to cross your border, I don't know, I have 2-3 times I traveled by road. So, and I saw that what is the experience you see. Terrible, you will never say, I never tried that. And this is a huge problem, all that, and the still modern world, you need to, for export import, in the border, crossing the border, it is a hell. The way we are, I think, still remain in the 70s, 80s in terms of modernization of our customs, our border. We have still, you have to six copies of documents for give different thing. You have to send it before by post. This is the no way can trade or commerce can grow. So there is a physical connectivity problem, and most problem, I believe, it is the soft problem, logistic and the mindset of people. The way they see, it is a huge problem, and shipment of good, all that. But not only all challenges, there is opportunity. I see a number of opportunities. I would like to highlight here a few. One of the opportunities I see that is Bangladesh particularly, because now we have a
well, we have, if you can go to,
okay,
2-3 minutes.
Yeah, only 3 minutes, okay. Let's go fast. Huge infrastructure, port development, road development, rail connectivity, all that. And there is a recently huge program taken by Bangladesh government, $150 million, just to improve the physical connectivity of the cross-border roads connectivity, both rail, road, all that. That brings opportunity for us to cover all that. Most important thing that now, developing inland waterways in India and Bangladesh. This is, I think, bring new opportunity for Nepal. Can you visualize all that? Huge investment are going on now to connect both Ganga, Brahmaputra, and both increase the navigability. It is coming now to Nepal door. That is a bringing huge opportunity. BBI motor vehicle, know that is also bring opportunity, although it is not operationalized yet, but this can bring a trilateral cooperation heavily, because that allows to move cargo passenger all the countries. You don't need to call them. This is the new, that is the, I think, this can bring a huge benefit to the Nepal and other countries also. And another new development is the protocol on inland water transited trade between Bangladesh, that is the amendment. And that allow opportunity for third country to use the inland waterways of Bangladesh and India. That is bring another new opportunity for Nepal, that connect to sea, all that. Of course, another new opportunity is coming. You know that we how energy trade between Nepal and Bangladesh was very difficult because of regulation by India of power trade. Now recently, I think, had a lot of effort between Bangladesh and Nepal. Recently, Indian government amended that. This is bringing opportunity for now. Nepal can export power to Bangladesh, and this is a huge jump. I would say this is the new opportunities coming. Without Bangladesh market, I'm sorry to say that Nepal cannot harness hydropower potential, because only single buyer, you will always be there. So now you can negotiate, improve all that. And of course, Bangladesh, new development coming. I would like to take few minutes only what are the potential out there. Two potential I think we are discussing, and where interest coming from Nepal, and now India is use this support to use our Mongla and Chittagong port. And now our physical connectivity has improved significantly, and now if you look at that, Nepali truck can go our Mongla port. They can go both by road, Bangladesh, or they can go via India and enter to Bangladesh. Tapanor was Rohanpur, and from Rohanpur to Khulna already we have a road, rail connectivity that can reduce your also transport cost, as well as the congestion time you face in the other ports now. That can be one of the important opportunities. And another important is that development of inland waterways. I'll talk it. I will not go there. Here I want, so that I think many people initially did not believe that it can be happen. But I believe, I tell you that it is happen. It will be happen. Because now in Bangladesh is the outlet for three major rivers: Ganga, Brahmaputra, Meghna. Huge outlet there. This river was navigable in this whole period. During British period, there was a trade route over there. But after the partition, that road was not full. Now Bangladesh and India now navigating this, and now whole even connecting Ganga and Brahmaputra. That gives you really opportunity for Nepal to reach to the Bay of Bengal and beyond. So Nepal will not be remain as a landlocked country. You can really properly handle that. And there is a possible, I believe it is coming, and all opportunities are now coming. I'm very hopeful about that. This is the important thing I would like to highlight. I will be very sharp. Road connectivity, we all know, I don't like to focus, and Bangladesh, all where the missing point was that government is developing. So that will be allow Nepal to really go to use this. Rail connectivity, another important area. Bangladesh is now going to connect all the cross-border, particularly to our two main ports, Mongla and Chile. So that will allow you to now, rail is the cheapest compared to road transport, so that will allow you to go better. And most importantly, I am one of the strong believer of the energy connectivity. Morning also we had that. This is also another new opportunity coming. You can harness, you can work together. This will be white gold. I tell you, this is the white gold. And here, important point I want to make that we should not only go for peaceful project of hydropower. This small hydropower, run of the river, that will minimize your strategic importance of hydropower. What I would like to, I use one that water value chain. I think maybe this is what maybe little new. Why I say water value chain? Water is one is the renewable resources, and same water you can use different places. One example: if you generate a hydropower in a Koshi basin in Nepal, this water can be used by storing, can be used in Bihar or even Bangladesh for irrigating during dry season. Same water, if you store some of the water, monsoon water, by storing, that water can help you navigability. That can be used for tourism. That water, even until it can help even until Bangladesh to intrusion, saline intrusion. Because in dry season, because of low flow of the Ganges, southwest Bangladesh is facing environmental crisis because of saline intrusion. I'm giving an example. Or enhancing even our Ganges, because the water, if you generate hydropower, you have to release this water. And if you store water, monsoon water, release in dry season, that means it is beneficial to downstream, beneficial for India and Bangladesh. So what I say, 1 liter of water you can generate hydropower, same water you can use for navigation, same water you can use for irrigation, as well as environmental benefit. If you can use water strategically, but if you want just this, it will strategically it will be good. Another word I want to emphasize, the public good, regional public good. If Nepal can connect with the inland water, this is a public good for Nepal or even the region, other countries also can, and that can be a really economic corridor for the region. So it is not only hydropower. Using hydropower strategically, you can produce much benefit for Nepal as well as downstream country. And that is why Bangladesh is coming here to invest here to Nepal. I'm finishing now. I'm not going for further. So my last point is that for that we need to work in a multi-pronged approach. One is, of course, Nepal-Bangladesh bilateral, we have to work together. We should not forget about that. We are not common border, there is some gap. So trilateral cooperation is important, and we should also explore the even regional also. Now, BIMSTEC coming, SASEC coming, Asian highways coming, how Nepal and Bangladesh can get benefit out of that, particularly BBI is there. Main goal should be moving from transport corridor to trade corridor to economic corridor. So industrialization happen in Nepal. Without industrialization, Nepal can never go be a development. I can tell you all that. So this is this, and bilaterally we can lot of things do. Thank you very much for kind attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rasul, sir, for your very insightful presentation. Just to give a sense and then share some key point he emphasizes, we need to have the we have now a poor infrastructure connectivity that is adding the high trading cost, and connectivity also need to be observed as a strategic asset. And rather than talking only the sluggish gradual increment, we need to have some kind of transformational change. So according to this, we need to also have the pragmatic policy approach for that to achieve. He also highlighted some economic outlook of Bangladesh and Nepal in foreseeable future. He also re-emphasized that Nepal-Bangladesh are from the same river family, and then we need to take full advantage of that. He also said a regional trade that we are not beyond the 5% if you talk among the South Asian countries. He also emphasized enhancing the inland waterways connectivity between Nepal, India, and Bangladesh. And then, we do have agreement with Bangladesh already, so possibility of exploiting Mongla port for third-party trade. So thank you for your interesting presentation. Now I'd like to move with Dr. Surya Acharya, who is the spokesperson of Bibeksheel Sajha, and I must say one of the renowned infrastructure expert in Nepal. And we have been hearing lots from you, and then getting some ideas what is exactly going in the realm of infrastructure itself. So it will be a pleasure to hear you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, distinguished panelists, and ladies and gentlemen. I'd like first to congratulate Dr. Rasul. He very brilliantly laid out the case on the theme of this session, this connectivity, multidimensional connectivity. So I have very little to add to the issue what he already placed on the floor. Let me just complement this, sum up these issues and this agenda. The first, as Dr. Rasul this highlighted, now in this era of globalization, the center of gravity of global economy is shifting towards Asia. And if we try to look at technically the exact center of gravity, perhaps that will fall on somewhere in Nepal. That's because when we say the shifting of the center of gravity, that is the biggest economy in Asia, is China and India, and Nepal locates in very strategically between China and India. It's very common sense that to reap the advantage and to make this Asian economy more efficiently and more competitively, it needs to be supplemented by the connectivity. That this, without physical connectivity or institutional connectivity, software connectivity, we will not be able to best utilize our resources and our potential. So in that context, this South Asia region, just as an emerging this economic powerhouse, which our politicians from all our countries, they are so this happy to raise this issue. However, sometimes they miss this point to which our political level, in the diplomatic level, geostrategic level, we need to be more liberal in this solving. So to that extent, still our politicians and our diplomats are not doing their homework properly. Now let me just highlight this why it is so. First, we need to understand when we say this competitive economy or the efficiency, the economic geography says the 3T. Basically, what we call this economic efficiency or agglomeration economy of a region, that depends on the basically 3T. First is this density. This the economic agglomeration and the efficiency come out of scale economy. So for that, we need a density. Density in terms of intensity of economic activity or density in terms of the population and so forth. So we are blessed with that. So South Asia region is with a high population density, huge population, this emerging middle class, the youth population, all that, we do have that. This density is there. The next is the diversity. The diversity, and also Dr. Rasul is explained, is contrasted very well. This Bangladesh and Nepal, we are culturally, historically, geographically very close, but we do have a diversity. We do have our own niche of competitive advantage that can potentially be utilized for our mutual benefit. So the diversity is there. And next is the distance. So we need to minimize the distance. So the distance is conventionally, when I'm trained as engineers, we used to talk about the distance in the kilometers, that how far are the distance. But now, we don't talk about the kilometers, this many kilometers of the roller railway. Now, we talk about the times. What's 1 hour, 2 hour travel distance? And when it comes about the time, this Dr. Rasul presented one chart. It's 40 days. You need the export and import days, how many days it needs that. So that is the constraint. So from distance kilometers to when we consider about the time, maybe our performance is it's very poor. So to be able to read or to be able to put our region in the more globally competitive context, we need to have this changed mindset. In all these 3 dimensions, these 3 T's, that especially the distance, reduce the distance, make it more reliable, it's a more safer and more sustainable, this transport and this connectivity. So this, when it comes to about the connectivity, we can, I think it in the 2 ways, or we can make interventions at the 2 levels. The first level is, you see, from geographically or naturally, we are well connected. Our river is originated from this Himalayas and it's end up with the Bay of Bengal, traveling to India and Bangladesh. So nature has connected us very well. But our man-made institution, we have put the barrier there. And the presentation said already, this transshipment, now some of our export, import is going through this Bangladesh port. And we have this only about 35 or 40 kilometers land, India, and then enter the Bangladesh borders. But our export and import from Bangladesh port, our truck cannot directly enter in the Nepal or the Bangladesh. It has to have the transshipments of these containers and the cargo. So that substantially increase our transportation costs. So in a way, the geography and nature is bringing us closer, but our man-made institutions is this putting a barrier there. So the first task is, of course, the building the railway or building the new infrastructures and that might cost investment and that. But at least to remove this barrier, it does not require any cost. It requires change in the mindset. It requires this strategic thinking. So it requires a more liberal regime in our bureaucracy, in our politician, or even in our diplomatic mindset. So why it is important is what I would like to draw the attention of our politicians and senior diplomats is, look, if we keep on insisting and if we keep on saying this barrier is something as our geopolitical advantage, then market and technology will find its own solution. That sometimes our geopolitical strategists and our diplomats are too confident and they love to rely on our northern border. We have a giant Himalayas there, so Nepal is a landlocked country, and Nepal has no way out in the northern side of that. So they have to change it. We engineers have changed that equation already. The engineering technology has defeated the geographical barrier. And even, you know, now with the, what we call it, light industries, not every export and import requires the port and shipping and that. Our high value added, so for example, this is mobile, all this, what you call part of this mobile, the computers. It's not transported by shipping, it's by aircraft. So that if we insist on keeping that barrier with a very narrow mindset, perhaps market will find this solution, and maybe in our future generation will find some small country that in the Europe or the Western country will be more closer than our immediate neighborhood because of this barrier. So the at first level to improve the connectivity is a very much easier task. We just need a change in the mindset and remove the barrier. All these what we call institutional barrier or this trade barrier or what we call this trade in transit facilitation, trade and transit facilitation, that will help. And in the second level, to improve this connectivity, obviously that may not be enough, and we might need to go for some hardware facilities and improving our connectivity physical infrastructures. And one good news is, already Dr. Rasul mentioned that India and Bangladesh recently entered into the protocol of this inland transport, this making Brahmaputra and this inland river transport to connect Chittagong and Calcutta port with the northeastern part of this Meghalaya and Assam. So with that route, we know all, our current government is also focusing more on the inland transport, such as connecting the Ganga, Koshi and Gandhar. So in my take, I see it's more relevant inland route would be this connected with the Bangladesh river and port, because the flow and that is the conventionally already operated inland route, the Brahmaputra route. So that would be another options the government of Nepal and all India and Bangladesh also need to be liberally considered to provide its alternative, this shipping route for Nepal. And of course, there's not much to aid with this goodwill and this effort on the part of the Bangladesh to bring Nepal into what we call the trilateral, this agreement with Nepal, India and Bangladesh. So this would not only be the transport connectivity, but also this electricity, and even on the more macro level, this having
sorry for interrupting. Would be happy if you
to this what we call this water resource management and sharing the water resource benefit. That would be also one of the dimensions, the multidimensional connectivity. So this, I think there is a good reason to be hopeful for better connectivity in the region.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being on time. So, Dr. Acharya, sir, basically focuses on we need to acknowledge the demography and diversity that we have, and also at the meantime reducing the distance. So 3D. Geographically, we are naturally closer, but we need to have a very strong and massive institutional reform in order to exploit the potentiality that we have. And changing in the mindset is also truly important. So he also focuses on the inland waterways connectivity and then a trilateral agreement between Bangladesh, India and Nepal as well. So with this, I'd like to request Mr. Keshab Sharma, sir, Deputy Director General, Department of Road Nepal, for his remarks.
Thank you, KCG. Respected Chair, I think I have two benefits over here. The keynote speech was complete as a professional which Dr. Rasul had presented very well. And Dr. Surya complimented it academically, so that I think I have very little things to add on it. I do support the views of both my successive speakers. yes, I do agree that connectivity is not only it is a strategic asset for any nation. So I agree with agreeing with this saying of Dr. Rasul. I would like to add something. Yes. In this era, I think there is no major other issues in the globe rather than development and environment. We all are seeking for the benefit and the goodwill of the public, goodwill of our people with development in a sustainable way. Economic growth cannot be achieved without any effort made on the connectivity, as we know that, yes, this distance is now not measured in the kilometers. How far we are, it doesn't matter. How much time it takes to connect us is very important. So that the one more thing about the distance is how much cost we can reach there is also to be considered. So we need to develop the multimodal transport models to make the distance shorter time and lower cost. So the topic of today's session is very much relevant in improving the connectivity with multimodal transport infrastructures. Regarding Bangladesh and Nepal, we have very good relationship since long time, since the history. And we have a very good tie of the culture, not only the diplomatic relations, but people-to-people relation as well. And we are having, although the amount is much less, but having very smooth trade relations between our countries. To promote the trade and to get benefit from the trade of comparative benefit areas having comparative benefit, we have to facilitate the connectivity for trade as well as good connectivity for the traveling people. Yes, geographically we are not linked directly. We have to use Indian land as a transit. And nowadays, as a highway engineer and as I am involving in the BBIN, SASE and BMISTEC working group, I found that this land connectivity is getting improved in these days. The roads between Kakarvita to Fulbari with ADB regional connectivity project, it is now improved. So we are in right direction. And we need to have make some interventions on our trade procedures like the cross-border transshipment, these things. And it is also with many forums we are working on that also. Similarly, the government of Nepal is giving priority for the east-west railway from Kakarvita to the west of the country and to connect with Kathmandu, which can be used as a trans-Asian railway, and we will be having more facility of railway connectivity as well in the future. Not only with bilateral or trilateral, this connectivity, even the roads and railway, can be utilized to connect with China as well, since we are planning to develop railways and many cross-border roads from Kathmandu to Chinese border. Similarly, the other area we can enhance our connectivity would be air transport, because we are very near from the direct sky distance. So I think Nepal-Bangladesh has the flight to Kathmandu, and we can strengthen it by our aircraft also. The other area, similarly, the other area is now using ports of Bangladesh, Mongla and Chittagong. Assessments are also being done for this area also. So, regarding the collective effort for the connectivity, we are working on many forums like BIMSTEC, SASEC and BBIF. As a working group member of BBIF, we had completed trial run between Dhaka and Kathmandu last year. But it could not be utilized till date, so I hope this BBIN agreement would be concluded at the earliest, and we can get the benefit from it. I would like to thank AIDIA, Bangladesh Embassy, Our Excellency Ambassador of Bangladesh, to provide me this opportunity as a panelist in this very precious session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being so specific and being on time. So, as being a real practitioner, like being the government official, is here that the government, improvement is being observed in the road connectivity between Nepal and Bangladesh, and he also will talk about the bus service. The trial bus service that we had earlier between Nepal and Bangladesh that need to be continued, and a BVIN motor vehicle agreement should be implemented as early as possible, as Bhutan had some reservations. Similarly, he also talked about the inclusion of China in overall this regional connectivity discourse. So thank you, sir, for that. So now I'd like to move with the Mr. Laxman Bahadur Basnet, sir. He is the former executive director of Nepal Multimodal Transport Development Board. So I'd like to request Mr. Laxman Bahadur, sir, to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Shyam Keshiji. Good afternoon, namaste, all distinguished delegates. Thank you very much, Dr. Rasul, for his wonderful presentation. Yes, I believe he says connectivity is the heart and life of the economic growth. I think it's true. Actually, this presentation covers comprehensive. It is comprehensive, thoughtful, practical, and analytical also. It covers major trade-related, trade, transit, and transportation-related activities between the two countries. He raised all pertinent trade-related issues in this presentation. So thank you very much. Again. Actually, I am last speaker here, so everything is already completed by our earlier presenter and speaker. So I don't want to go any more than what we have already discussed in the earlier by the earlier presenter. Time is constrained, I know. So just I want to focus just three things here. First, existing trade scenario, which was already presented by the doctor, and second one, what is the existing trade related agreement between the two countries, and number three, what should be the next step for the development of the connectivity. These are my three focal points. Now we have seen in his presentation, our trade volume is not so big one, it's a very small one. And the trade cost, along with the turnaround period is also very high. And he presented his presentation, basically the connectivity related to the rail and road, waterways, port also. So there is nothing to say. So just I want to go some few points. If I talk about the trade-related agreement between the two countries, the history becomes since the 1976, when the first agreement was agreed and done between two countries. But very unfortunately, this agreement became materialized only after the 20 years of this agreement, when we started the traffic in transit cargo from Kakarvita, originated from the Kakarvita to Bangladesh. Just I think this is 1997. It was 1997. That is the important thing we have to consider, and we have to think for that materialization of the our between two countries. And the second agreement was significant, but still is not fully functionalized. What I am saying, Rampur-Singapore railway route agreed for the Nepal-Bangladesh cargo by two prime ministers of the Bangladesh and India, I think so. Then we started our rail connectivity to the with the Bangladesh. But so far my knowledge, it is not full functionalized still.
Now it is that work is progressing.
Progressing, yes.
It is finished within this year.
Yeah.
It is completed already.
So now it has been completed as a broad gauge railway. Yeah, I think so. So second thing, and I talk about traffic in transit originated from the Kakarvita to Bangladesh towards the Bangladesh. There was a strong provision that I mean the provision was conveying and escorting the cargo from Kakarvita to Bangladesh. But now it was replaced by the one-time seal. Okay, so now it is also it will be the great help for the Nepalese cargo, Bangladesh cargo from two countries. And this is the agreement that we have already done for the connectivity of multimodal transport system. Now I want to make some suggestion and some supplement for the presentation. This suggestion is completely based on my experience and knowledge where I work in my office. So just I want to mention here a few notes. We all know railway is cost effective in comparison with the road transport. So Now, Birgaj and Viratnagar, ICD and ICD already can functionally operate Chitgaon and Mangla port and link with the Raunpur and Singapore railroad to Nepal, it will reduce the time and cost. When Benapole is already permitted by the Bangladesh, Petrapole is also equally important for Nepalese Bond Cup, which should be considered in trade and transit agreement. Yeah. Considering the trade scenario, we have to rethink about product diversifications in view of the demand. Border facilities and lengthy time-taking procedure in Fulbari, Bangladesh, because he has the tornado time is almost 40 days, and the cargo per container is 25 to 2600. 25 to 2600 per container. It's very huge. And another important thing is when Nepal Transport and Warehouse Company, it is government-owned company, is the only clearing agency from Kakarmita to Bangladesh. Its service is not sufficient to meet the growing business, where the solution is to allow the private sector to run the business alongside. I think so. It is required to ease the smooth and well-equipped operation and improve the management of the ICP and ICD operator to facilitate international trade.
It will be great, sir, if you conclude within 1 minute or so.
Just 1 minute, okay? Finally, on my conclusion remark, we all are aware, and it is true, that to run the business between the Nepal and Bangladesh through Indian territory, it is necessary to take into full concurrence and confidence of India. Lastly, a strong joint, this is my recommendation, a strong joint trade facilitation mechanism of both countries comprising the private sectors should be established. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laxman, sir. Thank you very much. So you also provided the kind of insight about how the transit agreement is being implemented in real term, and if we do have like already Rohanpur Singapore railways, and if we can connect like to the already connected to Mongla Port, so that route can be very beneficial for Nepal as well. And we also a little bit talk about the product diversifications and minimizing procedural impediments in order to facilitate the trade. So after maybe as we do not have much time, we will directly listen from our chair of the session. So I kindly request the chair of the session, Mr. Madhusudan Adhikari, sir, Secretary of Ministry of Physical Infrastructure and Transport, to provide the chair remarks.
Distinguished panelists on the dais, dignitaries and the audience, including Excellency and Minister, it's my great pleasure to hear chair this session with a very pertinent theme, the multimodal connectivity. I would like to thank you all, the panelists, including the keynote speaker, for raising the issue and spreading light on all the components and all the aspects of this issue. Basically, I am not expert in this sector. So, in front of the experts team, as a panelist, I don't have to add much things. Holding this microphone, I remember one popular saying of Plato. Wise people speak because they have something to say, but the fools because they have to say something. That's why I have to say something. I'm holding this microphone in a chair. Anyway, I got this opportunity to know a lot of things in this sector. And we got the opinions, views of the experts from philosophy to the operation level. They talked about the philosophy of connectivity and about the principles, about the policy, about our possibilities, and even about the current situation of the operation level. Is in the previous session, one of the panelists said, we have connection of culture, we have connection of our language. We speak Nepalese language, originate from Sanskrit, and in Bangladesh, the Bangla language is originated from Sanskrit. That's why we have some connectivity in the time as well. Not after 1971, when Bangladesh became independent. Before that we do have some connection. Connectivity is not only the physical in past. It is some sort of connection in sentiment, connection in emotion, people to people relation comes from that. So we are connected to each other, not only by physical infrastructure, but by beyond that. We are connected with geography as well. We are the resident of the same catchment of huge water system, river system. So we have common sentiment, we have common aspirations, and we have some common challenges as well. Some disaster occurred in our mountainous region do not remain untouched, affecting the people of India and Bangladesh in downstream. Some good things happen in our mountainous area. It doesn't remain without giving benefit to the downstream people residing in India and Bangladesh. As our keynote speaker, Dr. Rasul said, if we make a huge storage hydropower in Nepal, the augmented water will obviously benefit to the people residing downstream. They can use that augmented water for the development of waterways, navigation. They can use that water for drinking water supply. They can use the water for the irrigation as well. That's why we have some sort of natural connectivity. We have some sort of sentimental connectivity. We have some sort of common challenges that make us to work together. The natural disaster, environmental issues do not recognize the political boundaries. They happen everywhere and they affect people reside everywhere. We have to cope with the common challenges, the disaster and environmental issues. That makes us together to work, come together to work each other, to help each other and cooperate each other. That's why in this ground we are giving effort to make other sectors, to develop other sectors of connectivity issues. Basically, we are not talking about the statistics of the trade balance, statistics of the import and export, but how we can use our resources for the common benefit. As our keynote speaker said, we have some products that are quite expensive in Bangladesh and quite cheap in Nepal. And some are quite expensive in Nepal and quite cheap in Bangladesh. We can exchange them and we can get mutual benefit from that. Then what can we do for that? What should we do? We do have connectivity already. We have airways connection, but it is not sufficient. We have to develop it. We have to densify it. We have to make it more frequent, more efficient, more effective. We have some roadways connectivity, but we have to develop it more efficiently. We have to operate it more efficiently. If there are some barriers, as Dr. Surya Acharya said, we have some bureaucratic and political hurdles. We have to change first our mindset. We have to ease all the hurdles is we have to build trust on each other for the sake of mutual benefit. So we have different dimensions. That's why we are talking about multimodal connectivity. Yes, we have airways connection, roadways connection, we may develop railway connection, we may develop inland waterways connection. Even beyond that, we can have information ways. In previous session, we talked about the communication. And we can develop information ways. We can develop transmission ways. Transmission line, that is energy ways or power ways. That would be accent. The surplus power from this country to that country and that country to this country. And we don't have sea. We can import sea products. And in Bangladesh, they don't have some construction material like stones, gravels. We can export there the construction materials. We can take the mutual benefit by developing different aspects, different models of the connectivity. These are not my opinion. These are the opinion gained from this panel, from the experts. So how to develop these things is very important. So we need to use our common forums, the regional forums, sub-regional forums like we have SARC, we have domestic, and we have BIN as well. Still, it has to be metrized. We have to work on it. Still, we have to have some discussions. We have to have some further effort to make it metrized. After having these forums and getting the common way of development of this means of connectivity, obviously we could get the benefits from our possibilities and we can cope with the challenges of the natural disaster and environment. So, saying this once again, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me in this very pertinent and important session and giving me the opportunity to chair this session. And once again, I would like to thank the keynote speaker and all the panelists for their valuable views that will give us the way forward in the future days to plan and to work for the development of multimodal connectivity among our stakeholders between two countries and among many other countries. Thank you very much once again, and I would like to declare this session has been just ended here.
Thank you, respected chair, for rightly summarizing this panel. So we do have a very serious request from the floor. So if we can quickly take two questions, maybe be very specific, and then pose the questions who you want to exactly ask. Okay, just take a name. Okay, just two questions. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Surya, and I have a question to Mr. Sharma. Mr. Sharma, you have vibrantly highlighted the various prospects of connectivity. However, we will be pleased to hear what initiatives Department of Road has taken to extend the roadways transportation, and what step is your department planning to enhance it further? Thank you.
Regarding the plan of our department, we do have the prospective plan and strategic plan for 5 years for our projects, road projects to be developed. That includes expansion of east-west highway in 4-lane with median and various trade corridors with Indian border and connecting with Indian border and Chinese borders. Thank you.
China has proposed this trans-Himalayan connectivity, and how can connectivity between Nepal and Bangladesh fit into this connectivity?
Definitely this connection between China and South Asia is one of the most viable routes via Nepal. And perhaps if there is a conducive geopolitical situation and some sort of this higher level agreement between China and India, perhaps that this spillover benefit that will reach to the Bangladesh as well, definitely. That's an excellent possibility.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Sir, so I just have this one question regarding the South Asia and China, right? When we talk about this multimodal project, but I think that there is a very big project going in China through President Xi Jinping, right? There is this project of Belt and Road Initiative. So while we are there in Nepal and Bangladesh, there is this India between us. So can we forget Belt and Road Initiative? If we can take advantage of maybe 60% while we go through this multimodal project, maybe we can go to 30% if we go through Belt and Road Initiative. But then India, it does not follow Belt and Road Initiative. So I would kindly request Dr. Rasul, if you could just give us some of the ideas, how can we use maybe diplomacy or maybe digital diplomacy in this matter and share all things between the flow of economy between Bangladesh and Nepal. Thank you.
I think Mr. Chair can another look at that because here little sensitivity is there because many cases, technicality and politically this issue is there. There is some geopolitics, but technical difficulty is also there. But political sensitivity also is there. But if you go through the south, I see this is the at least technically and economically more viable. Going to the north, it gives you alternative. That's why I think that people think it must be. But question also lost cost effectiveness. Because as you live together, South Asia is very sensitive to geopolitics. We need to understand that. We cannot totally deny that, particularly when government work, all that. And particularly from the ICIMOD side, when we are a regional organization, we are very careful about that. I don't like to go much of detail there. But future maybe that Nepal government is now exploring this, and I think that is a good, because you need a one already, that you always vulnerability is there. If there is only one connection, there is a landslide, block that road, you are totally vulnerable. So you need alternative. So one is alternative to the north side is very good, but I see that your connectivity or south is much more cost effective and more practical. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So now we'd like to, in this session, I'd like to express very sincere gratitude to the chair and then panelists of the session. I guess it is truly enriching session in terms of a theme that we have. So I'd like to thank all the chair panelists.
Thank you, Shyam, for successfully moderating session second. Now we'd like to merge closing session with this session, so without any delay, I'd like to call LB Shrestha, who is President of Nepal-Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce, for a few words on behalf of Nepal-Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce.
And namaste. I would like to try to save time as much as possible, because I know time has been a constraint. The situation has also helped me to save the time, because two Honorable Minister and Foreign Minister have left, so I would like to call on Excellency Ambassador Madam Binte Sams, Binte Sams, and Honorable Distinguished Panelist, Chair of the panel today, Mr. Madhusudan Adhikari. I will not take much time, I will limit to 5 minutes, I will finish. So first of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Embassy and AIDIA President Mr. Sunil Kesi, who have very much organized this program, which has been very useful, tying up with the Independence Day of Bangladesh and also the big investment forum that we are having tomorrow and day after tomorrow. This both the sessions have been very much useful and focused on the connectivity. When we talk about connectivity, there are two types of connectivity: the communication connectivity and the geographical connectivity. When we talk about connectivity, the connectivity of mind is also, that is the media connectivity. That is very useful. We could not discuss much on the first session, but I must appreciate the second session has been very, very useful and very constructive. And all the distinguished representatives are belonging to the field of the transportation and the infrastructure, so they know how to save the time to cross the to take fast track. Though the time has been taken longer in the first session, the time has been saved by the second session. And I must appreciate Dr. Golam Rasul's presentation, which has been very, very useful, very much technical, and I would be happy that if you could have a circulated copy to each participants. That is the way how the discussion should take place with papers, so that all can participate. And that is a very highly technical document, which is useful for the government and all the people who are involved in development of this infrastructure between two countries. Because of time, I'm not able to talk much, but I belong to the one of the person who has been involved since last 40 years with Bangladesh. When we talk about connectivity, I remember those days. In 1979, I was the first visit that I made to Bangladesh. I had to go to Calcutta to take a flight from Kathmandu to Calcutta, then from Calcutta to Dhaka, because there were no direct flights. Gradually, the flights increased. But now, I think this, now time has changed a lot, and we can do many things. Yet we have not been able to do what could have been done and what still can be done. This type of forums should take place time to time, and I am also in a position where I should be also responsible for making this type of interactions, wherein there has been a lag for the last few years. So I promise Excellency that we will also be very active in making these type of forums, bringing these two governments together, and whatever we discuss, I think that should come into implementation. That is only how we can bring it into materialization. So because of the time constraint, I will limit here myself, and I express my sincere thanks to Her Excellency. And also I must mention this one line, that in last 40 years I have dealt with more than a dozen of ambassadors from Bangladesh, but speaking very honestly and very genuinely, that Her Excellency, the present ambassador, has been a role model, that she has spent each and every minute of her time in development of this two countries' bilateral economic relationships, and she has been the example of the real economic diplomacy, not limiting herself to the political diplomacy. I think we have to learn a lot from Bangladesh and from Her Excellency also, and I hope that our ambassadors abroad should also learn from ambassadors like her. Thank you so much, and thank you.
Thank you, L.B. Shrestha, who is President of Nepal-Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce. Now, without any delay, I would like to call Her Excellency Ms. Maspi Pinti Shams, Ambassador of Bangladesh Nepal, for her closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Shyam. Distinguished guests, Chair of the session, Secretary Physical Infrastructure and Roads. Thank you so much for your valuable time. You have spent the whole morning with us on how to improve the connectivity between Bangladesh and Nepal. I know how valuable your time is. Thank you so much, sir. And also the distinguished participants, panelists in this session and also in the previous session also. We have heard very robust discussion among the media persons and also among the infrastructure experts on how to improve connectivity between Bangladesh and Nepal. So I will not take up any more of your time. I would just like to add here that the whole idea of this sort of seminars is to improve connectivity. And connectivity, not only physical connectivity of roads, rails, highways, waterways, but also connectivity of minds, ideas, and people, because that's where our future is. We, the people of Nepal and Bangladesh, must cooperate together if we want to materialize our shared dream of future prosperity. A lot of discussion and data has been exchanged, talked about. Some of the data is a little outdated, even about the connectivity data. Sorry, Rasul bhai. Actually, the Rohanpur-Singhabad rail connectivity is an alternate second a rail intersection which has been offered to Nepal. Originally there was Birol-Radhikapur, which was temporarily suspended because of gauge conversion on the Indian side. Now the Bangladesh side has also made it broad gauge, and now we have two rail connectivities between Bangladesh and Nepal. So it is Birol-Radhikapur and Rohanpur-Singapore. That's one correction that I wanted to make. And there are the protocol and inland water transit and trade between Bangladesh and India has been in place since 1965, not recently. It has recently been amended to allow third country transit. So that's another correction I wanted to make. Other than that, I really don't think I have any much more to add. It's very late and everybody's lunch is waiting. So thank you all very much for participating. Thank you.
Thank you, Her Excellency, Master in the Sense.